everybody. Good morning, Robin. So we're still waiting for Miss Annie. She's making her breakfast toast. And she's dealing with Instacart. Anyway, today we're going to spend some time with the first Foundation Studies class. We're going to be looking at the horse stance. So we're going to look at a little slideshow and a couple of short videos. But let's do some warm-up first with the stick. And the other side. And Lee circles. And reverse. And shoe circles. And reverse. And pink circles. And reverse. And reverse. And holding the boat. And reverse. And good. And good. Okay, you can put your sticks away. So we're going to watch a little slideshow I made up. Um, some of you have seen some of these shots before, but this is a new slideshow, so hopefully there'll be some new stuff there for you too. The focus of this is on horse stance, but it's also a chance to talk a little bit about our lineage and show some pictures of my teacher and my teacher's teacher and my teacher's teacher's teacher, so you can get a little bit of a feeling for that too. So make yourselves comfortable. This takes about 15 minutes or so, depending on how much I chatter. And then we're going to watch a couple of really short little videos too. So make yourselves comfortable. I'll cue this up. Okay, hopefully that is nice and clear. Next slide, the horse stance. What is the horse stance? The horse stance is the stance you get from riding a horse. So this guy has a beautiful horse stance. What you should pay attention to is the shape of his legs. In fact, you can just mentally subtract the horse and just look at his leg structure. All right? How are his feet? How are his knees? How are his hips? In the West, we tend to pay attention to the muscles, but in Tai Chi and Qigong, we pay attention to the joints. So look how the joints, the ankles, the knees, and the hips, look how they are structured. Because how they're structured in this picture is why it's called a horse stance. And traditionally, Tai Chi and Qigong have been done in horse stances. This guy looks like he's having a bad day. This is a mural from Chen Village, where Chen style Tai Chi was first developed. That's the oldest style of Tai Chi. And it's the style, it's the old martial style, it's the style our frame of Tai Chi is based on. So the actual name of our style of Tai Chi is Chen Shi, Xin Yi, Huanyan, Tai Chi Chuan. All right, so Chen style, Xin Yi, primordial Tai Chi. This is these murals are referring back to a time a couple of hundred years ago. So still in the Manchu haircut era. But this style of working with your legs open goes way back. Goes back at least to the days of a lot of cavalry fighting. You probably recognize the Mongol horseman here. Notice that he's riding without touching his reins. These guys are such incredible horsemen. And a lot of Tai Chi and Qigong was developed on horseback, especially the stance. And don't forget, the Mongols at one time had the largest contiguous land empire in history. So it developed there, but then went on to Chinese martial arts. This is a classic horse stance. I don't know what martial art he is practicing. He's in the Wudang Mountains, so it's very likely Tai Chi. But all the Chinese martial arts use this stance. He's a young man, so he's down really low. And if he were at Shaolin, he would be doing the hard martial arts, but still in a horse stance. This young man is performing pole practice, so his master would say, get up on that pole in a horse stance and stand there for an hour without moving. And that's not a joke. All right, here are more Shaolin adepts. Again in a horse stance. This is a left forward horse stance for a lot of these guys. Some of them it's a middle horse stance. But not everybody goes real low like that. This is great if you're young. All these guys are probably mid to late 20s, maybe a few of them early 30s. And if you're young like that, you can get down there. And there's a reason to go down other than just martial. But if you're a little older, a higher horse stance will work just fine. Feng Zhixiang is our grandmaster. This is the gentleman who developed our style of Tai Chi and Qigong based on teachings from his masters that go back way back. And we're going to look at some pictures of some of them. But before we do, let's look at least the last couple generations of our lineage. So it starts at the top with Grandmaster Hu Yaozhen, who in China is called, quote unquote, the father of modern Qigong, and Grandmaster Chen Fa Ke, who was the head of Chen style Tai Chi at that time, 17th generation. And both of them took on a young fellow who showed a great deal of promise and who turned out to be later in life Grandmaster Feng Zhixiang, the founder of our style of Tai Chi, which combines Hu Yaozhen's Qigong with Chen Fa Ke's Tai Chi. One of Master Feng had about 400 disciples. Those are sworn apprentices, you might say. And most of them were already practicing masters, so they would have had their own schools already. One of whom was my teacher, Zhang Shuixin. And then Zhang taught me. So Hu and Chen taught Feng, Feng taught Zhang, Zhang taught me. All right. This is Grandmaster Chen back in the early 50s. And this is his son, Chen Zhaokui, probably also in the early 50s, maybe the the late 50s, early 60s. And this is fine to do a low horse stance if you're young. This is another picture of him. And if you're thinking, wow, they must have really strong legs, you're right. Their legs are like steel. This is an old photo of Master Chen at the bottom in the middle with the mustache. And standing above him in the middle of the picture is a young Grandmaster Feng. And here are some early photos of Grandmaster Feng, looks like in Beijing, on a rooftop. And I included them in here because he's doing the first form here. And you can see everything is done in a horse stance, even though he's not trying to be down really low. Getting down and low like that is a great exercise, great practice, and it's great for young guys who want to show off. But nobody actually practices long term in those very low stances, or mostly don't. A few do. But you can see even in stances where he's almost upright, like the upper right stance, his knees are open and his pelvis is open. It's a horse stance. More shots from that same series. And one of the reasons that exercise is done in a horse stance like this is your largest muscles are in your butt and your legs. So if you're not exercising them with every exercise you do, with every form, with every Qigong exercise, you're not really exercising. And you're not exercising the whole body. The secret to Tai Chi and Qigong is the whole body is moving, not just the upper body. We get really fascinated with the arms and hands, and they are fascinating, but so is the lower body. Back in the 60s, the government published a really famous book about Tai Chi, and this is one of the illustrations. It was all done by Master Feng. And you'll notice that he's wearing you'll notice in the earlier ones, he's just in his shirt tops. But here he's in formal dress, and he's in black, which he didn't wear very often, but in fact, that's what a master wears, is black. He preferred himself white or a light gray. And he's probably in his late 60s in this shot. One of Master Feng's old friends and training partners is this guy. Master Feng is on the left, and the guy on the right is my teacher. And this is probably in the late 50s. So they were friends. They were both good-looking guys. And you'll notice Master Feng's eyes and compare them to Master Zhang's. You notice how much bigger they are. Yeah. Right? He had very wide eyes for Chinese. So his nickname was the Tiger with Big Eyes. This is a shot of my teacher. He's on the right. And Chen Fa-Ke's son, Chen Xiaokui, is in the middle there. The guy on the left is Ri Bunyi. So their friendship and collaboration goes way back. This is my teacher in the United States. He moved to the United States in 1988, specifically to bring, quote unquote, real Tai Chi to the barbarians in the West. So this picture was taken out at Spreckles Lake in Golden Gate Park. This was, there was a whole series of pictures. We're going to look at a few that were taken for, I can't remember the magazine name, but one of the martial arts magazines. Notice the horse stance. Here from the same picture spread, here he is teaching George Shu a move in a push hands move from the form. And you can see George does not have very good position. You see how bent his back is. Where if you look at Master Zhang, he's very centered. This is also Master Zhang. This is up in Seattle. He's teaching some joint locks to this guy with the blonde hair. And you'll notice they're done in a horse stance because it gives you better leverage. This was also taken at Spreckles Lake for that magazine. Wave from the ocean bottom. And I put this one in here. It doesn't really show the horse stance, although it is in a horse stance. But I'm going to show you another picture later, and I want you to remember this one. This is Master Zhang's class in Golden Gate Park. And I'm sorry about the light and shadow. It's a little awkward, but it shows everybody in a horse stance. We're doing one of the forms. And if you look just beyond Master Zhang's left ear, you'll see a guy in sunglasses. That's me. So this is where we practiced in Golden Gate Park for almost 30 years. This is me and Master Zhang. Master Zhang is showing me applications. So I'm just being set up to get thrown down here. He's going to do what's called Feng Kai, which is to split open. So his hands are together now, but shortly they will not be together. And I will be on the floor. And he's probably in his mid-70s there, late 70s. This is after we came back from Beijing. And you can see even when we sit down, it's in a horse stance. Now, the horse stance, in fact, is a global phenomenon. It is not just Chinese martial arts. So we can go to New Zealand and watch the Hakka dancers dance their war dance. It's done in a horse stance. All right, and it doesn't matter whether you're male or female, it's still done in a horse stance. India, these are traditional martial arts. This is a book from 1570 from Germany. You'll notice he's in a horse stance. This is an illustration from the book. They're in horse stances. This is a shot from Spain in the 1930s, I believe. And what they're fooling around with, they're just playing, is a Spanish martial art, a mountain art, using their shepherd's staffs. Notice that they're in horse stances. This is a shot from France, where a couple of guys are also doing stick work. It looks like they have bags over their heads, but they're really protectors to make sure they don't get poked in the eye. And I put this guy in. I have no idea who this is, but his conformation is perfect.
Look how relaxed his upper body is.
Yes, thank you, Annie. This is exactly the point of this picture. Look at his hands. They are totally relaxed. There is no tension in his body. Even though his
jaw is relaxed.
Yes, even his jaw is relaxed. His spine is straight. His hands are relaxed. He can move in any direction right now. Now, his legs, let me guarantee you, are like steel. And that only comes from years of practice.
Yeah, they probably started when they were 6 or something.
Yeah, most people that are serious about Tai Chi in China start when they're about age 6 or 7. So by the time they're in their late teens, they're essentially already masters from our point of view. But notice also his left leg. Look how the shin is straight up and down. This would be a left forward horse stance. This is Chen Xiaokui, one of my teacher's teachers again. We already saw pictures of him. He's also in a left forward horse stance. It's taken from a little different angle. But you'll notice he's very young. He's probably 22, 24 there. And most folks don't practice in deep horse stance very long like that, maybe up into their 30s. Some people, however, keep practicing a long time. The guy on the right in the light blue uniform is Chen Zhonglai. And he is probably in his mid 50s there. And they're doing a little push hands. He's one of the 4 tigers at Chen Village, so he's uh, a professional master, you could say, and teacher. Still around, but I doubt if he practices in that depth anymore. Now, the next picture I want to show you, I think, is a really, really important picture. This is Madame Gao Fu. And this picture was taken on a dock at Lake Washington in Seattle, where Madame Gao Fu had moved to Seattle in order to teach Tai Chi. In this picture, she's 81 years old. And she didn't even start Tai Chi until she was 55. And she was one of Master Feng's students. And she has beautiful form. Notice how upright her spine is. Notice how open her pelvis is and her knees. It's beautiful conformation. Now remember this picture of Master Zhang. Here's Gao Fu, taken from the same pier. So she's 81 years old there, and she has beautiful conformation. I remember seeing this issue in a newsstand where I would buy Tai Chi magazine. It's not published anymore, but I would go there once a month and pick up a copy. And I saw this picture of her. I had never seen her before. I didn't know her. But I knew immediately that she was a student of Master Feng's because of her conformation. Look how straight her spine is. And it's the same with Master Zhang. Look at the center line. Look how strong the center line is. Look how strong. Stand like a mountain, move like a river. There are things that you need to know about your energy body to be able to do this. They're not hard, but you need to know them and practice them to make it work. And we'll go into those quote unquote secrets. In the old days, they were secret. Nowadays, they've opened them up to the whole world. But we'll go into that later in the term. Okay, what is a horse stance? A horse stance is an arch. This is a Roman aqueduct in France. It's over 2,000 years old. It's in fine shape. It still works just great. Arches are strong. All right? Look at her legs. Look at those arches. Look at those legs again. All right. Now, the problem with these arches is these are engineering arches. They're rather mechanical. If you look at them, they're obviously made from sections of circles, pure circles. The problem with the human body is it's not geometric, it's not mechanical like this. So this is a good tip, but it's not quite right yet. All right, but look at these arches. Oh, these arches are different. For one thing, they're very beautiful. They're very organic. They're not pure circles. Can you guess who designed them, who the architect was? Can you guess, Annie?
No.
You know him. He's Spanish.
Gaudi.
Somebody said Gaudi. Yes, exactly. This is Gaudi. All right. This is actually the attic of a apartment building. It's an attic. It's gorgeous. Everything he did, everything was beautiful. These are the doors. These are different shaped arches, but they're the same kind of arch. It's very organic. So, you read this. The 17th century scientist Robert Hooke wrote, "As hangs a flexible cable, so inverted stand the touching pieces of an arch." As hangs a flexible cable, so inverted stand the touching pieces of an arch. The catenary is the ideal curve. Catenary arches are strong because they redirect the vertical force of gravity into compression forces pressing down along the arch's curve. In a uniformly loaded catenary arch, the line of thrust runs straight through its center. That's one of the secrets to her erect posture. She's using a catenary arch with her legs, which directs the force downward through the legs in such a way that it gives them their greatest strength for the least effort. And it allows the center to be straight. All right, see if you recognize this catenary arch. That's a catenary arch. What exactly is a catenary arch? A catenary arch is when you pin both ends to the ceiling and let it hang freely. It's not a geometric arch like those Roman circle arches. It's just a natural arch.
It's a gravity arch.
It's a gravity arch, exactly. Thank you, Annie. Right? Its enormous strength comes from this, that it's a gravity arch. It's the least effort for the most effect. Okay, now take a look at this guy's legs. It's the same thing. It's a catenary arch. You'll notice that his toes are pointed out, that his knees are open, and his pelvis is open. If you took the horse away, he'd be in a perfect horse stance. Okay, let's watch a little video here. These are two guys doing a little push hands. I have no idea who they are, where they came from, where they are. But I really liked this little short video because it's just two guys screwing around, which is exactly the way most real practice happens. And let's finish with a video from a tournament, and you will see. Let's go on to this lady. Won the gold medal for this performance. So that went on a little longer than I thought it was going to, as it always does. But here's the point I want to make. If you want to stay for the beginning Tai Chi class, we'll do a little work on the horse stance. Those folks were young. I didn't start Tai Chi till I was 36. And so I worked low like that probably up until I was 50 or so. And now
You were still working like that when we started the school, but that was 12 years ago.
but that was 12 years ago. So I guess up into my late 50s or early 60s, right? You do not have to work low like that to get benefits from it. But here's why they do it. When we are so oriented toward hand-eye coordination that we forget the rest of our body. And 60 to 70% of your body is your legs, your butt, and your back. The whole point of Tai Chi, whether you're thinking of it as a martial art or as a health art, is to move the Qi through your body. So if your idea of moving Qi through your body is doing this, you're not going to get very much movement. In fact, you have to move your whole body. You will get more out of doing this than all kinds of fancy movements. Just shift your weight from side to side. There's a huge flow happening from side to side. The whole body is flowing.
I wanted to say something. For the new students, you might have noticed that we don't put our hands on our hips when we're doing certain exercises. We don't put our hands here. We put our hands here. And that's a really important distinction.
Why?
Because it reminds you to engage the lower half. This is
this point here where we all put our hands. This is actually part of the upper body.
Yeah.
Because you're above your own hips. You're resting on your hip joints. But Master Spung and John never did that. They did this.
And it's right next to the quad. So it always reminds you.
It reminds you, go down, go down, go down, go down into your legs, right? Yeah. Every single exercise, right? No matter what it is. Shift your weight.
And it feels so good.
And it feels so good. And reverse. Now, as you're doing this, don't you feel a wave going through the body? It's nothing secret or hard to find, right? You feel this wave. That wave is your Qi. That's what they mean. One of the things they mean by it. Right? When I'm shifting my weight, when I'm moving from my center line, everything's moving. Everything. I'm checking around. I can't feel anything in my body that's not moving.
Even your internal organs.
Even your internal organs are moving. All right? And reverse. The whole secret of the Chinese way of exercising, if you want to call it that, doing Qigong and Tai Chi is about the movement of your Qi. It's not about trying to build big, strong muscles. It's about your vitality to be vital, right? the, um, the goal in Qigong is immortality. They don't mean you're going to live forever. What they mean is you're going to live well in the time that you are alive, right? You're going to feel good. You're going to be vital. You're going to have energy, right? And that comes from paying attention to the wave. The wave is you, is your energy, right? Here's a little trick I do with Annie sometimes. Let's come up closer to the camera. Now I'm gonna have her grab my upper wrist, so to speak. I'm just gonna. What do you feel?
Limp noodle.
A limp noodle. Now, what do you feel?
Rebar.
A rebar.
Yeah.
What's the difference between this and this?
Energy, intention.
Intention.
Yeah.
Intention. What is your intention? It's your mind. My mind is moving through my body. My mind, right? Now, my body is my mind, but, right? It's moving. Your chi follows your mind. Wherever your mind goes, your chi will go because they're actually the same thing. They're the front and back of the same coin, right? So when we do exercises, any exercise, you're moving your mind, and your mind is moving your chi, and your chi is moving your body. And that flow, that is your vitality. That's literally your life. So what you are practicing is your life. All right? Combine that with breathing, and you've got it all. And you just practice that. You're enlivening every cell in the body.
It will feel like you plumped every cell up.
That's exactly
It
right.
feels like you've had a huge meal
Yes.
of chi.
Yes, exactly.
A 7-course meal of chi.
When you get this, there's nothing complicated about it. It's just a matter of paying attention. But when you pay attention, it's exactly as Annie says. You do an hour of Qigong, you feel like you've sat down to a 7-course meal. Only it's of energy, and that will stay with you all day long.
Yeah.
And if you do it every day, your life will become much more energized. It's not about practicing down really low. That's not the point. The point is the conformation in the body, to open the pelvis and the knees so that they are free to move. If I'm standing like this, everything's locked up. But if I'm open like this and relaxed, now everything can move. Boom. All right, we should stop this session here, take a little break, and those who want to stay for the beginning Tai Chi class, we'll focus on this aspect of it as we move forward into the third move, right? Okay, you guys all have a great day. We'll either see you in 5 minutes for beginning Tai Chi, or we'll see you tomorrow morning. Ciao.